It's 6 o'clock.
This is the news on 92.3 Nigeria Info.
A very good evening to you. It's Thursday, 2nd November 2023. Peace is the path to the prosperity of a nation. Let peace reign. On the news this evening, elder statesman Anab Saraigbe rejects elders' support for FCT minister as stakeholder demands fairness. Rivers State Chief Judge pardons inmates. Injured NLC president to be flown abroad for treatment. Lawmakers reject 5 billion naira presidential yacht past 2023 appropriation bill. House of Reps seeks end to ritual killings. On the foreign scene, Israeli Prime Minister says troops engaged in fierce battle. I am Constance Mega with the news. Elder statesman Anab Saraigbe says those who declared support for the FCT minister Nyesom Wike are not Rivers elders, but elders of the PDP. Recall that a group led by Ferdinand Alabraba pledged its loyalty to the former governor and cautioned those they called the new-found friends of the Rivers State Governor Siminalayi Fubara to reconsider their actions, which they said could lead to total confusion and disorder in the state. But Mr. Saraigbe spoke on this on Wazobia FM's Aside Hot today.
We know ourselves, but these are elders of PDP. They are not River State elders. You cannot talk of River State elders without Rufus Ada George, Admiral Figgis, Professor Fobara, A.K. Osford, and Ada George today is the chairman after Graham Douglas. When you talk of elder, you are not partisan. So this PDP elder, they have said their own. They are all part of the plan to impeach him. Wike there for 8 years. They don't fit advise Wike. They don't fit talk to Wike. Then they fear to go talk before Wike. They still believe, say, now Wike is there in charge. And so he must be obeyed. But that was not correct.
Well, the elder statesman advised former Governor Wike and Governor Fubara on the best ways to settle their differences.
If I meet Wike any day, I will tell her, say, when you come out your hand. And if you come out your hand, they will get more respect than now way they could disgrace him. For same, my advice to him is 1, take charge of your government. 2, any piece you are doing, don't make mistakes, say the enemy, now you can guide your house for you. Lock your gate against those people where you don't say they don't mean well for you. But make sure, say, the local government, now they in charge. House of Assembly, your own House of Assembly speaker, make you support that one. The House of Assembly where governor recognize, now they survive. They can go to court, they can go anywhere.
Well, the elder statesman also asked the governor to sack the 15 commissioners nominated by the immediate past governor and appoint his own commissioners. Meanwhile, Port Harcourt-based lawyer Otonye Amakri has advised the Rivers State elders to remain neutral in settling the political crisis between Governor Fubara and the Minister of the FCT, Nyesom Wike. Mr. Amakri spoke with correspondent Soibi Oruwari.
There are some people that are known as political party elders. There are also those that are known as elders because of their age and because of their contribution to the development. Unfortunately, this latter group has not been part of any consideration by any government so far. I think that the elders should play the role of real elders by not being biased or partisan, and they should call the major actors in this present chaos that we have and talk to them privately.
Well, on his part, APC's Chizi Enyi described the call for Governor Fubara to apologize to former Governor Nyesom Wike as unfair and insensitive. He said the elders spoke on behalf of their party.
What will Nyesom Fubara correct when Nyesom Fubara have only said, let them come and tell me my offense? That's the only thing Nyesom Fubara have said. All other things being said are from what people are assuming. Those things are an assumption of the likelihood of why the governor is being tied to the neck. That's why would assembly sit when the chambers were appointed? What's the reason? Because he have not said anything against the said Nyesom Wike. He only said, let those that want to impeach me come and tell me my reason. Will the governor apologize for saying that? No, not at all. The governor will never attempt that.
A group The concerned Ekpeye Youths for Peace and Development says it will stand by Edison Ehie as an Ekpeye son, despite his removal as leader of the State House of Assembly. In a statement, coordinator of the concerned Ekpeye Youths for Peace and Development, Ugwu Moses, said Honorable Ehie is a victim of the recent political events in the state. The group also described the press briefing led by Chief Ferdinand Alabraba as baseless and biased.
If the name elders are actually seeking to address issue, why not ask all parties to maintain status quo and allow peace to reign, or call all parties to a round table than glorify one man and his ego and use our own Ekpe son, Right Honorable Edison Ehie, as a victim in this saga? I hereby say that these men are out for their own selfish interests. As an ethnic nation, we have, as an Ekpe people, clearly understood that we hastily must stand for our brother and son.
Well, on his part, the secretary of the group, Esedi David Joe, said the attempt to impeach the Rivers State Governor, Siminalayi Fubara, and the removal of the leader of the State House of Assembly was planned by members of the House to satisfy their paymaster.
The press briefing led by Chief Anabrabra and his team of friends is completely baseless and biased, and no right-thinking person or group should take them serious, as it is targeted plot to satisfy a paymaster and which hunt our amiable son, Right Honorable Edison Ehie. And in turn, they want to ensure Ekpe will not rise politically. Other than that, how would there be a gathering of Rivers elders without an Ekpe representative? We want to state without any ambiguity that Chief Anabrabra and his ring of friends have failed themselves and their sponsors. And if that is how tongue-twisting elders could be, no one will wish to be called an elder.
Moving on, the Rivers State Chief Judge, Justice Simeon Chibuza Amadi, has pardoned 50 inmates standing trial at the Port Harcourt Maximum Correctional Center. The exercise is part of the activities to mark the 2023-2024 legal year in the state and also decongest the Port Harcourt Maximum Correctional Center. Well, Justice Chibuza Amadi said the exercise is also in compliance with the provision of the Criminal Justice Law of Rivers State and the Special Provision Act of the Law of the Federation.
It is my honor to address you all and share my thoughts on the significant event which holds special place in our judicial system. It serves as a reminder of our commitment to ensure justice is rightly served, that our correctional centers do not become overcrowded, and the rights of the defendants are protected. More importantly, it symbolizes our dedication to ensure that individuals have the chance to reintegrate into society as law-abiding citizens.
Well, the state's chief judge also urged the police to ensure a thorough investigation before charging suspects to court.
Our custodial centers should not be warehouses for the forgotten, nor should they be breeding grounds for hardened criminals. Rather, they should be institutions of transformation, where individuals can reflect on their past actions, learn from their mistakes, and receive the necessary tools and support for their rehabilitation. To achieve this, we need collaboration among all stakeholders involved in the criminal administration system. The judiciary, the correctional services, law enforcement agencies, legal aid organizations, and community leaders.
Also speaking, the controller of the Port Harcourt Maximum Correctional Center, Felix Lawrence, said the pardon has reduced the number of inmates in the center.
Our custodial center should not.
Permit me, my Lord, to use this opportunity to appreciate you on your efforts to decongest the custodial centers in the state. I took over 4,000 plus in maximum custodial center for Harcourt, but today we have dropped down to over 1,000 lower than what I have inherited last year June. My Lord, that has really shown that the criminal justice system in Rivers State is working.
Well, he also appealed to the Chief Judge to constitute a prerogative of the Justice Committee. Correspondent Emeko Tuka reports that the inmates granted pardons were those who had been in the correctional center for 5 to 9 years, awaiting trial, and no case has been filed against them. Away from that, some residents of Port Harcourt are calling on the state government to reinstall street lights on major roads and flyovers to curb insecurity in the state. In an interview with our correspondent, they said a number of the recent robbery and kidnap incidents in Obiakpo and Port Harcourt local government areas happen at night. Well, business owners who own shops in these areas also complained of low patronage at night due to the insecurity.
At Rumokoro here, Rumo, there's need for street lights. Even broad daylight is happening now.
There is even more need for government to put street light and CCTV in those dangerous areas because it will now reduce crime to help them too. The money they have used in taking care of insecurity, they will single-handedly use it to secure a place with little amount.
It's good for the government to put street lights on the road because it's actually for security and especially those that are selling on the road and to help them sell during evening. When there is darkness, the criminals are free to do anything they want.
If you go to Rumokutana, you discover that some of these bridges, there is no lights. And if you watch, most of the robbery that we normally have there is under those bridges.
In other news now, the Senate has confirmed Anubum Onoha from Rivers State and 2 others as resident electoral commissioners for the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC. The other nominees who were also confirmed are Bumi Omosheindemi from Lagos State and Ismaila Moyi from Zamfara State, while 7 other nominees were confirmed on Wednesday. Last week, President Tinubu sent the names of 10 persons to the Senate for confirmation as REC for a 5-year term. In another development, President Bola Tinubu has appealed to all candidates and electorates participating in next week's governorship elections in Bayelsa, Imo, and Kogi states to ensure free and fair elections. President Tinubu made the appeal today while presenting the APC flags to the standard bearers in the elections. The president of the Nigeria Labour Congress, NLC, Joe Ajero, is to be flown abroad for medical treatment following the injuries he sustained from security men who allegedly attacked him in Owerri, Imo State. NLC Publicity Secretary Benson Opa, who confirmed this, said the NLC president could not be treated at the Federal Medical Center, FMC, Owerri, because of the degree of injuries he sustained. Meanwhile, human rights lawyer Femi Falano has called on the police to ensure that the officers who allegedly brutalized the NLC president are arrested and prosecuted. Well, Falano also faulted the statement by the police on Ajero's arrest. Well, recall that the police had denied arresting the NLC president during the union's protest against alleged abuse of workers' rights by the state government in Imo State yesterday. Still to come, lawmakers reject 5 billion naira presidential yacht, pass supplementary bill. Stay tuned. Thanks for staying with us. And now to the rest of the news. The House of Representatives has called on the Inspector General of Police, IGP Olukayode Egbetoku, to address the trend of killing of young girls for ritual purposes in the country. The House also urged the IGP to set up a crack team to conduct a thorough investigation to expose the cartels behind the killings and bring them to justice. But this followed the adoption of a motion of matter of urgent public importance moved by a member representing Andoni Opobonkoro Federal Constituency, Awaji Inombek Abiante, where the lawmaker, while moving the motion, regretted the recent killing of young girls who are mostly undergraduates by their supposed boyfriends for ritual purposes. He particularly noted with dismay the recent killing of 20-year-old Justina Otwene, an undergraduate student of the Department of Biochemistry, University of Port Harcourt, by one Damian Okoligwe, who is also an undergraduate student of the same university last week. The National Assembly passed the 2023 Supplementary Appropriation Bill today after the third reading, where lawmakers say the speedy passage of the bill is for the benefit of the country. Where earlier, the lawmakers rejected the 4.79 billion naira budgetary allocation for a presidential yacht contained in the supplementary budget and moved the proposed amount to the student loan. But this now brings the total sum for the student loan scheme to 10 billion naira as against the initial 5.5 billion naira. Well, President Bola Tinubu had written to the National Assembly seeking the approval of the 2.17 trillion naira supplementary budget to address labor wage adjustments, security, amongst others. Well, the presidential spokesman Tope Ajayi had earlier said President Bola Tinubu did not ask for a presidential yacht. Mr. Ajayi said the request for a yacht is from the Navy. In business, manufacturers in the South-South region are calling on the government to harmonize taxes and levies in the region to create an enabling environment for investments. We're speaking during a two-day conference in Port Harcourt to mark the annual general meeting of the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria, MAN, Rivers and Bayelsa States chapter. The national president of MAN, Musheye Francis, said manufacturers in the country are facing challenges of foreign exchange, multiple taxations, among others.
The poor performance of the national economy in the last few years has made it imperative for state governments that appreciate the contribution of the real sector in job and wealth creation to institute a more effective consultative mechanism with Manufacturers Association of Nigeria. This is to ensure the sustenance of the existing manufacturing companies that are at the verge of collapse under the weight of overwhelming infrastructure, multiple taxes, and regulatory challenges that we encounter.
Well, the Rivers State chapter chairman, Vincent Okuku, also spoke.
It is important that the government continue to carry out aggressive and adventurous development of key selected mineral resources such as limestone, kaolin, and others. We need more attention to be paid to the agricultural sector. The activities in non-oil sector should receive significant incentive from the government. Transformation of Port Harcourt and Onne Seaport to fully maximize the business and trade potentials of the region. Develop industrial zones, industrial parks, and clusters with requisite infrastructure.
Well, the event hosted heads of manufacturing organizations and financial bodies, including the former chairman of MAN, Ekama Emilia, South-South manager, Bank of Industry, Irabo Park Queens, general manager with the Nigerian Content Development and Monitoring Board, Ama Ikuru. Now, there were keynote addresses, paper presentations, and panel discussions.
The South-South is known for richness in oil and gas. Aside oil and gas, what can we do with the South-South? Developing new industries and technology. Technology is key. We need to look at the infrastructure development in the South-South.
We have ignored the most important ingredients of our population, women and the children. If you do not take them into consideration, there's nothing you are going to ignite. Those children must be taught to be able to work on their skill. Create jobs for them.
It would be a great thing if a hub can be created in South. If you could build this park close to the gas network pipeline, we could use that as a testing ground to be able to power the manufacturers that are in there with gas.
Well, the theme for this year's annual general meeting was reigniting industrial and entrepreneurship in the South-South region. A highlight of the event was an exhibition segment for different manufacturing companies in the country. In entertainment, after a week of build-up, the Beatles have released what is billed as their final song, called Now and Then. All four Beatles featured on the track. In sports, 22-year-old Nigerian striker Victor Boniface has been ranked 14th position on the list of the best dribblers in the top 5 leagues in the world and 43rd in the global ranking. Well, the ranking was released by CIES Football Observatory.
And now, we'll bring you news from around the world.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says Israeli troops are at the height of battle in their ground operation in Gaza. But Prime Minister Netanyahu says troops are advancing as battles are reported in 5 areas in the north of the Strip. Meanwhile, the Israeli Foreign Ministry says it has not been informed about any decision by Bahrain to withdraw its ambassador from Israel, despite an announcement by Bahrain's lower house of parliament. Well, that's the news this evening, but before we go, let's take a look at the highlights. On the news this evening, you heard that elder statesman Anab Ibe has rejected elders' support for the FCT minister Nyesom Wike. The Rivers State Chief Judge, Justice Simeon Amadi, has pardoned 50 inmates. The injured NLC President Joe Ajero is to be flown abroad for treatment. Lawmakers have rejected the 5 billion naira budgeted for a presidential yacht and passed the 2023 supplementary appropriation bill. The House of Representatives is seeking an end to ritual killings. On the foreign scene, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says his country's troops are now engaged in fierce battle. The news was edited by Onyeka Chinwosu. You can see pictures and watch videos of news stories when you like us on Facebook and follow us on X at Nigeria Info PH. On Instagram, it's at Nigeria Info FM_PH. Now, for any eyewitness report and breaking news, text and send your WhatsApp pictures and videos to our news desk line on 0808 721 7215. Remember, peace is the path to the prosperity of a nation. Let peace reign. I'm Constance Mega. Thank you so much for listening.